Let me make my meaning abundantly and completely clear if I can. The United States deplores any war, cold or otherwise. Its only desire is to live in peace and freedom and to let all other peoples live in peace and freedom. In that spirit, we declare that so far as we are concerned, Africa shall never be the scene of any war, cold or hot. But we also declare that Africa for the Africans means Africa for the Africans, and not Africa as a hunting ground for alien ambition.
The United Nations' role in the Congo crisis between 1960 and 1964 saw its largest deployment of men and some of its most controversial actions. The Congo had been a colony of Belgium, and in 1960 Belgium announced it was giving the Congo its independence. Belgium gave the Congo just 5 months to get itself ready for independence, despite the fact that it was clearly unprepared for such a task. The independent Congo Republic was declared on June 30th, 1960. Its Prime Minister was Patrice Lumumba and its President was Joseph Kasavubu. In the first week of July, the army mutinied against the remaining white officers that led the colony's army, and numerous attacks took place against Europeans in general. The mutiny immediately took away any authority the civilian government had. It also created a state of near panic within the Congo, as 100,000 Belgians lived there primarily in or near the capital, Leopoldville. In response to the crisis, the Belgian government set Belgian paratroopers to protect Belgium's citizens in the Congo. This was an illegal act as the Congo was not an independent nation and free from Belgian rule. Such problems are made worse when the mineral-rich area of Katanga in southern Congo were declared independent by Moise Chabet, who led the people in Katanga. Katanga produced copper, 60% of world's uranium and 80% of world's industrial diamonds. Chabet was backed in European companies that worked in Katanga, as they hoped to take a cut from the considerable profits that could be made from mining such resources. Katanga had potential to make Congo one of the more wealthier African states. Without it, the new nation would remain poor. With such chaos ensuing, Lumumba appealed to the United Nations for help. The Security Council created an army to restore law and order to the Congo. It numbered nearly 10,000 troops. It was given 4 tasks: restore law and order and maintain it, stop other nations from getting involved with the crisis, assist in building the nation's economy, and restore political stability. The United Nations force was only allowed to use force as a means of self-defense, and it was not allowed to take sides between the government in Leopoldville and the government of Chabet in Elizabethville. Almost immediately, things went wrong for the United Nations force. Lumumba asked the United Nations to use military force to crush the power of Chabet in Katanga. The Secretary General of the United Nations refused permission for this. Lumumba immediately accused the United Nations of siding with Chabet because of Katanga's rich mineral reserves. He also accused the United Nations of siding with the rich European companies that mine the region. Lumumba's anger at the United Nations' failure to act against Katanga led him to asking the USSR for help. The involvement of the Soviets split the Congolese government and led an impasse between Lumumba and President Joseph Kasavubu. Mobutu, in command of the army, broke this deadlock and expelled the Soviet advisors and established a new government efficiently under his own control. Lumumba was taken captive and executed in 1961. A rival government of the Free Republic of the Congo was founded in the eastern city of Stanleyville by Lumumba supporters led. Meanwhile, the UN took a more aggressive stance towards the secessionists after the USSR leader was killed in a plane crash in 1961. Supported by the UN troops, Leopoldville defeated secessionist movement in Katanga and South Kasai by the start of 1963. Simbas rose up in the east of the country. They took control of a significant amount of territory and proclaimed a communist People's Republic of the Congo in Stanleyville. Government forces gradually retook territory, and in November 1964, Belgium and the United States intervened military in Stanleyville to recover hostages from Simba captivity. The Simbas were defeated and collapsed soon after. Don McCullum landed himself in Leopardville, the capital of the Congo. However, McCullum wanted to be in Stanleyville where most of the action was happening. Overnight, McCullum had a plan in mind to get in with the mercenaries. He managed to meet a man called Alan Murphy, whom McCullum got a lot of information from. He was said that a C-130 American plane, which was under the CIA, took groups of mercenaries to Stanleyville. So McCullum pestered Murphy to help him out and get on the plane. He asked him to wake him up in the morning and to lend him some clothes. Murphy agreed, and he did just that.
And I see myself now, 40 years ago, standing on that runway with the early morning rain shower that had passed, and a man with a clipboard who happened to be a CIA man asking people's names, and I thought, I've had it, you know. And he came up to me and he said, what's your name? And I said, McCullum. He said, you're not on the list. And I said, I should be, and my legs were like jelly. And he wrote my name down. He said, okay, climb aboard.
When McCullum arrived, he was surrounded by dead bodies everywhere. They were lying so stiff, frozen in the last moments of death. All around him, McCullum said he could hear screams and shouts and gunshots. And at one moment, he was beside groups of young boys that were being beaten brutally in their ribs and in the back of their heads. McCullum wasn't supposed to be there, so he was really apprehensive to take out his camera. A day or so later, a mercenary called Mike Hoare was in 5th Command, asked McCullum who he actually was and what he was doing there. To which McCullum confessed. Hoare replied with, I'll deal with you in the morning.
He totally switched his whole kind of attitude and offered to take me on this journey chasing these Simbas who'd abducted these nuns, and they were cutting them to pieces with machetes on the way down as they were fleeing from us. And sometimes people used to say to me, do you have nightmares? And I would say no, only in the daytime, when my eyes are open and I'm awake and my memory is, on full alert.